right, how's everyone doing? We're at episode 18 of the Homestead Shop Talk with Al from Lumnah Acres, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. And today's topic, we're going to talk about, do our kids like homesteading? First, we're going to talk about our week, and I think maybe some of us had some exciting stuff this week, right?
I know you did.
We had a good week. So we are finally getting some solar panels up on the workshop. So I shouldn't say we finally got some panels up on the workshop. We put 30 up on the roof.
Ooh, that's a bunch.
So it's a 512 pitch. So I'm trying to think. I don't know what angle, I can't remember what angle that is of the roof, but so in the summertime, it'll make a ton of solar. In the wintertime, when we get snow, it's not going to shed the snow that easy. But we also have a ground mount at the house, and when that gets snow, it doesn't shed a lot either. So what I did on the workshop, I hung 10 of them on the vertical wall at a 90-degree angle. So those ones will never get snow or ice on them. So that's like that'll produce 4,000 watts right there. So I'm curious to see how those work being at a 90-degree angle. I know they say like for maximum solar gain, you're supposed to have, I think in our area in the wintertime, it's like a 76-degree angle. So we're 90, so it'll just be interesting. We have three different arrays basically now. We have one that's on a roof, one that's a ground mount, and then one that's 90 degree. So it'll be interesting to see like how they do throughout the seasons and which produces best. It's nice to have.
Did you install that yourself? All those?
Yeah, so I had Ken from Ken Carpentry and his guys. They gave me a hand doing the roof mounts because we did 30 panels, and each panels weigh about 50 pounds, and we had to put the racking in the roof. So I hired those guys for a day and a half, 2 days, and they gave me a hand. So it was a lot easier than trying to get Gina up on the roof and have her giving me a hand up there. So
Yeah, that's great.
the walls are 12 feet high, so you're a little bit higher up too because it's not just an 8-foot high wall. It's always fun. It was something new. It went well. We figured out different ways to do it. But I remember when we did the solar ground mount, that was weird because you would think, oh, I'm doing a ground mount, it'll be easy. But it's like a 45-degree angle, and you're placing your panels on pipes, and then you have nothing behind you. It's just all wide open. So the rails are up, and the panels fit perfectly. So if you tweak a panel a little bit, it'll fall. So it was like, I didn't like doing the solar array. I'm like, this is weird. So I'm like, I'll try the roof. We'll see how it is. I might kick myself in the butt if we get a lot of snow one winter, but you don't know unless you try.
Yeah.
So do you guys see a lot of solar down in your neck of the woods? Like getting popular down there, even just panels and stuff?
We have a lot of solar farms. There's a bunch of solar farms around us, but I don't really see solar panels on people's houses very often down here.
A solar company just reached out to me this week, actually, and wants to do something. I don't know if that'll happen, but
Yeah.
I'm curious about it, I might have them out just to kind of do a walkthrough or something, seeing what I would need to do something. I don't know what.
All you have to do to find out if they're legit is mention off grid, and if they turn tail and run, they're not worth messing with.
What do you guys get for sunlight in the winter? Do you guys get a lot of cloudy days in the wintertime, and you guys have a lot of sun still?
No, I think we get
we-
a lot of sun.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on really how wet it is. I would say in the past couple years we've been here, I don't know, maybe like 50-50. It'll get, cold and
50.
rainy, and then you won't see the sun for a couple weeks, and then you'll have a week of sunny days where it's like super cold, and then, right back to cloudy. So I don't know, maybe like a third of the time is sunny. I don't know. I haven't paid that close attention to it.
That's like our winter. Yeah, you don't pay that close attention until you have solar panels. Then it's like, oh wow, I didn't realize we had so many cloudy days.
Yeah,
I bet.
It's kind of cool though, because it keeps you more paying attention to that kind of stuff. Kind of like homesteading. Like you guys probably, I know I never paid attention to the weather or different things before. I was outside all the time with the animals and stuff like that. So it's like the
That is the
solar just
truth
takes
right
it to
there.
one more one more level. So hopefully we'll get all the solar components hooked up this coming week. So that'll be nice to have power out at the workshop just in time, hopefully for winter, so we can get heat out there and we can have a warm place to work.
I got a question about that. I think you're the second person I know that uses that exact language because it's so cold up there. What do you plan on working on? What are you going to build indoors in a covered, heated space over the winter? You have any special projects?
We haven't finalized anything. I need a new chicken coop, so we'll probably build a chicken coop at some point. We need new chicken tractors, so I'll have to build chicken tractors. Our daughter wants an old vintage farm truck, so I figure we've been looking, but we haven't found the right farm truck that we want to restore. Or we're not going to restore it to pristine condition because we want to be able to have a farm truck that we want to use. But I figure if our teenage daughter's like, "Hey, Dad, I want to do this project with you," it's kind of like, yeah, that's something we need to, make a priority because before we know it, she's going to be old enough and on her own. So it's like, yep. I think that'll be the big one is a farm truck and then a bunch of, little projects that we have to do or we want to do for the homestead. So what's your week been like, Ben?
Oh, more cleaning, more organizing. I have been my old chicken tractors that got retired. I ripped those apart and completely dismantled them, saved anything that was usable like the hardware cloth and the roofing. It's not really showing anymore, but I caught a splinter from one of those pieces of wood. And it was a gnarly splinter. It jabbed up this way, kind of towards the end of my thumb. And it went about a half-inch deep. It was a big splinter. Well, by the end of the day, this finger was about double the size that it normally is. I couldn't bend it. It was a gnarly infection. So, yeah, I battled that all weekend long, putting stuff on it almost hourly. The saying sticks out like a sore thumb. Oh man, when you can't use your thumb because it's, double size and throbbing and has a small infection, yeah, it hurts. I haven't been able to hardly pick anything up with my left hand all weekend. But we're it's back to normal. I can bend it now, so we're all good. But other than that, yeah, a lot of cleanup, we're getting ready to do our meat birds this week. I believe this Thursday
This week, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna put them all in the freezer and we're just counting down the days. I think what's kind of cool is this time we're gonna be so close on feed. It looks like they're gonna be eating the last bag of feed on Thursday. So we got that
Awesome.
down
That's
perfect.
great.
I'm super excited. We've ran out before.
I love it
and
when
had
it
to-
happens.
Yeah, we've had to go buy extra feed the last week. And it's just like, man, this is terrible. So this is
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, other than that, just
How many meat
more
birds?
cleanup. Oh, I think this is I think it's 100. We started with 104. We lost
Okay.
4 of them pretty early on, like normal. And then I think I've only lost 2 or 3 of them. So it's like 97, 98,
that's
something
awesome.
like that. One of them
Yeah.
got ran over moving. Didn't even see him.
Yeah.
Just moving that tractor, and he completely went under the chicken tractor and got run over by the chick lift. So, needless to say, he
Oof.
was
Oh,
yeah, he was not doing too good after that. But other than that, usually we do the Cornish cross, and usually by the time we get to the end, man, it's so hard to keep those things alive. It's like they just decide it's time to die, and they do. They just start dropping like flies right at the end. After you've got all that time and money into them.
So
yeah.
what breed did you get? What did you get this year for a meat bird?
The ones we're doing this year are the Murray's Big Red. We did these probably I think it was our first year here, so it was 4 years ago. And we had some feed problems. The feed we got was, I don't know if it was bad or what, but nothing we had on this feed did good. And, once we finally got that sorted out, I think those meat birds, the Big Red, they ended up taking 12 or 14 weeks or something like that. So that was the time we ran out of feed and had to go buy more food. And everything did so much better on just Tractor Supply feed compared to this feed we had been feeding that it was like, that's pretty bad. So yeah, these McMurray's Big Reds have been pretty cool. They're like normal chickens. They're just bigger. They have all their feathers. They're not as nasty. Anybody who's ever raised the Cornish cross knows how nasty those birds can be. How about you, Jason? Let's hear about your week.
Yeah, I had a fun week. Well, first of all, Al, I got the coffee. I got the dark roast.
Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about
I
that.
I haven't tried it yet, so
Oh man.
I'll let you know.
All right.
I have. I love it.
You tried it?
You love
really?
it?
Oh, I love
Awesome.
it. It actually tastes real similar to my favorite coffee anyways. Yeah, I've been going to message you all day, but I've had my head in a project all day.
So yeah, let's see. Well, first of all, I've had my Cooney Piglets get out on me 3 times this week. The first time it's like, okay, what is that? Maybe it's just a fluke, and then having a second time, and then a third time, I get out in the morning. I got up a little late, it was around, I don't know, 7:30, 8, and I walk out there. As soon as I turn like towards the back of my house, there was 2 Coonies like practically right next to my house. Like they were just chewing on the grass, and I was like, "What? How did they get out?" And so I was like, "I don't know." Okay, so I run into the barn. I grab a bucket. As soon as they saw the bucket, they followed me. So I mean, it's a good little distance from where their actual pen is, but yeah, they followed me like quick. It wasn't even an issue. So as soon as they followed me, they went right back in there. And so there was a third one that was out, and that one we didn't know where that one was. We were looking all over. It was probably it wasn't that long, but maybe I would say a good 20 minutes of looking all over. I thought, oh man, maybe something got him. Maybe he's in the woods somewhere. I pictured the neighbor. I don't know where, but I saw him. He was up top of our property. He was eating the excess turkey feed that I had that was just kind of on the ground. Funny. But as soon as he saw the bucket, he came down too. And then after that, I was like, okay, we need to figure something out, because I'm about to put these little piglets on my smoker. So what I ended up doing was there was overgrown grass around the netting, and so I thought, okay, I'm gonna grab my edger. I edged around the netting because it was just overgrown. It was touching the netting, maybe that shortened it out. So between that and then I switched out the batteries in my IntelliShock charger. Switched them out for brand new. Luckily I had already charged batteries in my barn. Switched those out, and the charge was like double what it was. And then right after I switched them out, they tried to get out again. They went in the same spot where they would get out, and as soon as they hit that fence, it shocked them and they backed up.
Awesome.
So since then, I have not had them get out. So, but so it was a low charger. It was probably that. So after we figured that out, we had our build workshop this weekend, which we had 6 people.
Nice.
And it went great. I mean, we started at 9 a.m. We were done by 5, and we finished building this chicken tractor. We had lunch. Lorraine made a lunch for everyone, and it was great. I mean, people, there's some really cool, like nice, super nice people that come to these workshops. There's a little bit of anxiety there of having workshops like that, because you're like, yeah, for sure, Ben. Yeah. I mean, there's anxiety there because you don't want to be disappointed. You don't want them to be disappointed.
Don't disappoint.
I want them. Right. Yeah, you want it to be like good value for them. You want it to make it worth their while because they're, spending money to come here and to learn something, and they're taking the time to do it. And so I want it to be good for them and worth it. And so, but once they're here, it's like they're really nice and just thankful, and it just seems like it was just a happy day. Like they just really wanted to be here, and everyone was involved, and we all kind of worked together, and it was just fun, and everyone was super cool, and then after the class, we raffled it off, and someone's gonna take it home, and we also, Bootstrap Farmer, they sent us one of their pole benders to give away, so we did a giveaway on that, and a chick lift. We gave away a chick lift. So yeah, I mean, it was a success, I would say.
So the odds were
Uh,
good to win something, like a 50-50 chance to bring something home.
yeah, everyone won something
Oh,
except for two people,
nice.
but I mean, you know, they still got the class.
Yeah,
They just didn't
that's
take
just a
any home with
bonus.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a bonus, but so
They got
it was
Lorraine's
fun.
cooking. I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, that was great too. She made some donuts in the morning, and
Mm.
I mean, it was great. We had some shredded pork from one of our pigs.
Yep.
That's worth the
Um,
price of admission right there.
I mean, it was awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and it was good weather. I mean, I took everyone on a little mini tour of our place. Sure, everyone wants to see the coonies, and so it was a good time, and I'm glad I did it, and everyone seemed like they had a good time too. So
Did you give anybody any rides in the mini truck?
no, I did
No.
not. Some people were asking.
Or they? I believe it.
Yeah, I was like, pile in the back. No.
Right. Put some hay bales in there and make like a little hay wagon in the bed
Yeah.
and good to go.
Well, let's get on to the topic for the day. Do our kids like homesteading? Just because we all love it doesn't mean that our kids gonna love it, right?
Right.
Our daughter, when we moved out here, when we started homesteading, she was 4 years old. We've been here, she's 12 now. So, this is pretty much all she knows. Slowly, you could kind of tell where she kind of forgets of how our life was in California. Because we'd go Disneyland, stuff like that when she was 4,
Yep.
and now she just kind of forget how it was, and now this is what we do now. So I don't know, I guess she's like a normal kid. Some days I think she loves it, and some days I think she doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, this is one of the subjects. It would almost be better if we were to just like have the kids here and like gauge the reaction. Um, I could tell you the two oldest, I don't know, like they're not real keen on some of the stuff, like the chores and some of that stuff, because I mean, we left California when they were 10, 11, something like that. Yeah, 10.
All right.
And, so they spent first decade of their lives in California. They missed riding bikes and, being able to do stuff, having pavement everywhere. And, I mean, they didn't have a whole bunch of friends, but, when we left, they were like, will we ever see our friends again? Like, probably not. They weren't the best friends anyways. But then
Yeah.
the younger two, well, I guess the 14-year-old and the 11-year-old, they love it. They love everything about it. They love, I mean, if they could live outside in the woods in a loincloth, they probably would. Um, like those two, it's like Lord of the Flies. And the friends that they've made out here, when their friends come over, they disappear. They're off in the woods. They have their swords and their axes, and like they're doing stuff. Honestly, it's like they're getting a raising that people haven't had in 100 years. That's how I feel watching them. It's like, you guys don't realize what you guys are living. Like, people don't get to live like this anymore. And you guys are, you know, we talk about it like our generation. We played outside till the street lights came on. Well, there's no street
Yep.
lights out here. They get to play outside and just live wild and free. Like it's definitely different. And I don't think any of them really enjoy chores, but it goes with the territory. They all love the food. They all love everything we're growing. I think it's to the point, they might take it for granted a little bit. I keep telling the older two. The older two are gonna work a job during deer season. That's about as much as I'll say about it. And they're starting this week, and I don't think they realize that their free time is going to go bye-bye. And I think those two I think it's until January 1st is when deer season ends. Yeah, they're going to be
wow.
missing they're going to be missing their free time. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they feel about chores in a couple months.
Right. So we've been, I don't want to say like really homesteading since Olivia's been born, but we started homesteading back before she was born, like right around the time Gina was pregnant. We started growing a lot of our own food. And then we moved away for 4 years. But when we moved away, we lived in an apartment for a year. No, not even a year. I think like 6 months we lived in an apartment when we were back in Massachusetts. And that was a huge eye opener to us because when you live in an apartment, like you're constantly trying to entertain yourself and going to find something to do because you live in a shoebox kind of thing. Like you don't have a
Yeah.
yard, you don't have anything. And we were used to having, we had 3 acres at that time before we moved, and we had pigs and we had meat birds and we had egg layers. We had a nice garden and everything. So when we moved, it was like, oh wow, this is terrible. So when we found a house in Mass, it had 3 acres, and we had chickens, we had meat rabbits, we had gardens. We weren't supposed to, but we had all that stuff. We were in like suburbia on like a main road. The front lawn became all just gardens. We just did big compost gardens, and then out back, I put a fence up. I had it logged. It was all big overgrown trees that were good for nothing. Big pine trees are like falling down, and we put we put egg layers out there, and then not meat birds, sorry. We did meat rabbits because Gina didn't think that having chicken tractors in our backyard in suburbia would be a good idea. So we did meat rabbits. So Olivia's kind of always been around it, and she loves some aspects. We were just watching some older videos tonight of when she was like, I think like 9, and she was out there milking the goats, and we had the milk goats. She's right into it. But as they age, the things get different. They don't like to do all the stuff, so she enjoys some of it. But I'll be really interested in for finding out for Olivia. But I think for all of our kids that are in it, they're used to the food, and they're used to the good food, and they're used to the lifestyle. So like when they ever do leave, what's gonna be like an eye opener to them? Like, are they gonna want to come back? You know what I mean? Like, kind of like I wonder if like at some point they're like, oh, they think the grass is greener on the other side, and then they'll go live that life, and then be like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was going to be like. Kind of like
Yeah.
when we moved and we lived in an apartment for a few months, we were like, ooh, yeah, like this is not fun.
Yeah, or they might love it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel
I
about
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
Could you
They
imagine?
might love it.
They might, but I don't know. Could you imagine eating the food you're able to eat now and your kids have at their fingertips and then going to eat?
No, yeah. No, I understand that. Yeah, it's like for them to be able to afford how we eat now, like
Right.
going to go buy it. That's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Very expensive.
And that's what we're used to eating. So that would be interesting.
It sounds kind of elitist saying it like that. It's like, oh yeah, we eat so expensive. But I mean, that is the reality of it. To buy pasture raised, organic, anything, oh, it's top dollar. Like it is the most expensive food you can get. And that's just what we eat because we're raising our animals and we're raising our food naturally. This world is upside
But we're
down.
living this lifestyle, but we're also living the lifestyle so we can afford it. I know that's what
Yep.
got us into it. It's like,
Yeah.
man, we can't afford that nice food, but we want that food because we want to feel better, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think about like say, she turns 18 or whatever and she's like, "Okay, I'm out. I'm gonna go to the city or whatever. I'm gonna get a regular job. I'm gonna go try to find my way." I think eventually like she would eventually come back
Yeah.
to this lifestyle. Whether she's in her 40s, 30s, 50s, I think eventually she'll be like come back to it. Like she'll find it. Like, you know what? I remember growing up this way. I remember that. And I think she'll miss it.
There is a romance to this
Could be wrong,
lifestyle.
but
We all found a way to make it work for us, like business wise and income. So it'll be interesting to see if our kids want it. How do they make it work for them? Which I think is will be awesome to see. Not even just our kids, but kids that are in this realm. Like how do they
yeah.
make it work for them? Especially, just being a different generation.
No, I mean, I think, I see other kids, not just our child, but other kids in this space that are very entrepreneurial. Um, like it seems like they want to do their own thing or they're trying to see what that is,
Right.
which is great. Like I think that's awesome. That's just night and day difference from how I was growing up.
Right.
And so I think it will be interesting to see everyone's children and see how everyone turns out, I guess. It's something I would love for her to stick around and want to do this lifestyle, but you can't make them do anything, but at least they would have this option,
Right.
Yeah.
which I think is good to have options.
Like Olivia, she's very attuned to food and how it makes her feel. So it'll be interesting to see like that part if she goes away from it or if any kid goes away from it and they're attuned to, oh, hey, I eat good, I feel good, or I eat junk food, I don't. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a huge thing because like you said, like you can some nowadays you can kind of go to a grocery store and get the good quality food, but it's expensive.
We were actually having a conversation the other day. We had bought some like pepperoni salamis for pizza night. We buy the whole salami and then slice it on the deli slicer and make our own pizza. There. Pardon me, phone's going off in the background. Well, the discussion came up that we can taste, this isn't an organic product. This isn't a pasture-raised pork product. This was just generic cured meat. And about half the household could tell the difference. The way I would describe it, if you go from eating clean meat to eating, store-bought, there's like a manure flavor to it. Like the way pig manure smells, you can detect that in the meat. Well, we were all sitting there talking about it. It's like, I don't want to eat this. Like, I ate one pepperoni and was like, I'm not putting that on my pizza. Well, one of the oldest twin, Tyler, he's 16. And he just looks at me. He's like, you guys talk about this. I can't taste any of this stuff. Like, it just tastes like pepperoni to me. Like, am I, like, do I not have good taste? Or, like, what's going on? Like, it doesn't taste piggy to me. And I told him, I was like, hey, I think I was in my 20s before I could finally taste stuff like that. I think it was when I had actually, been around animals that's when you can start detecting stuff like that. But that comment got me thinking. It's like, okay, if he can't detect a difference, then, who cares what you eat, right? But I think
Right.
what's funny is when he was younger, let's say probably like 8 or 9, anytime he ate a hot dog, he would complain that he got a headache. And so Meg was the one who finally figured it out. She's like, hey, every time he eats like nitrates and, cheap hot dogs, he gets a headache. Well, this summer we went to the fair and we all got corn dogs. he started complaining of a headache after he ate this corn dog, and it was like, he still got it, whether he realizes it or not. So it'll be interesting if, we already know he has some sensitivities to things in food and cheaper food. The real question would be, does he care enough about how he feels to come back to this lifestyle? I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
I have company here, so I'm going to have to cut it short.
Okay.
That's all right.
No problem, Al.
All right.
Thanks for stopping by.
It was nice chatting with you guys.
All right. Talk to you next
All right.
week.
Have a good night.
You too. Have a good one.
All right. And then
All right.
it's just
Me and you,
us.
Ben.
Just the two of us.
The California kids.
I know Brett, he's the 14-year-old. He feels pretty strongly about all this stuff because I think he's been in this realm a little bit longer, or maybe he's paid more attention. We've watched the documentaries with him. They all talk about, there's a documentary called Food Inc. And that documentary, they all still talk about that one. And so he's pretty much, he's on board. Like, I could see him, like, he's the one, he's interested in gardening. Every year I'm giving him more and more dirt so he can have a bigger and bigger garden because he's on fire for it. So I think right there, like, I could see him staying in this lifestyle. Corbin too, the youngest boy, I could see him staying in it. But I guess only time will tell.
I know it's hard to, we can't predict the future, and it's like I'm not making her. I want it to be her choice. I think that'd be best.
Yep. It's absolutely something that whether they leave or they come back, like ultimately it's up to them. That has been one of the things about parenting that I've learned, and I've watched so many either friends, relatives, you name it, either control their children and how they want their children to come out, or completely hands off and just, they're going to turn out how they turn out, and it can either be good or bad. And I've seen it both ways. And so kind of my philosophy is just like, give them the tools and the things they need, and they're just going to do what they can do. You aren't in control of their destiny.
They're going to be so self-sufficient. Like they know more than any of all of us combined will ever know. Yeah. They've learned so much in their short time they're here already, which is awesome. And all the kids that they all hang out with and friends that we have, like, they're all kind of in the same space. So I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I think that's been something nice too, is making the connections we've made out here and various friends and circles we run in. And, having 4 boys, the conversation has come up of, like, I guess, positive male influence. And most of the people we hang out with, if they have boys, their boys are just like our boys. They're outside all the time. They're not plugged into video games all the time. They still know how to go out and have fun, and they know how to do stuff because, their parents are doers. Their parents are people who do stuff all the time, and they've had their kids in their back pocket the whole time. And so it's been really cool to just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess it's just more of that, giving the kids the tools they need to make it in life. Man, we're like so far off topic right now, aren't we?
I don't know. I think we are. But it's all right. We're just talking, man. We're just talking on the phone. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know if there's anything more to say about it, Like, I think we all kind of hope they all continue the life, but we'll see. They're kids. Some days they want it. Some days they don't.
Yep.
Some days they want to sleep in. Some days they're up super early and are excited. We just got to keep moving forward and continuing doing what we're doing, I think, and see what happens.
I mean, that's all we can do in this slow march forward. I don't know if it's getting older or what, but it feels like time is speeding up. Especially since we've got out here, it feels like we just left California like last year, and we've almost been here 5 years. Like, it's really weird to think about. We just had a baby and now she's 3. It feels like time is speeding up. And so we've had the discussion a lot lately of, even with the boys, it's like, hey, you two are almost 18. Like, you're legally able to go do what you want at that age. And it's really weird to be at this point. I remember when we had them and we're sitting there and it's like, well, I'm going to be like in my early 40s by the time these babies are legally adults. Like, I don't know how I feel about that now. Like, it's really weird to be in this position. But at the same time, it's cool.
No,
it's
I know.
Like, it's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to leave California and start this lifestyle when she was younger. Because I felt like the longer we wait, it was just going to be harder to move. Because she's going to be older, she's going to have her friends. She's going to be, I mean, who knows? Maybe would have put her in public school. I don't know. And I think it would just have been harder. So I'm glad we had moved out here when we did. But I think it's just, I mean, for me, as soon as I graduated high school, it was like, all right, what are you going to do? You're going to get a job. You got to get a job. Are you going to go to college? You got to go to college, right? And that's what I ended up doing. And then I was out and getting a job and going to college, and that's all I did. So yeah, I don't know. And now I'm discouraging going to college. Don't go to college just to get into debt.
Yeah, that's a whole
I don't know.
another topic in itself right there.
Yeah,
That's
I know. I don't want to go there, but
I mean, you know what? Like, I did the same thing. That was what was preached to our generation, is your worth is dependent on that piece of paper. And really what I learned was, I went to college briefly. I was getting set up to, go to college and get some sort of degree. And I figured out real quick I could use college as a vocational school and then start working, because that was really what I wanted to do. I just wanted to start working. I was tired of school. It's like, I've been in school all my life. I'm gonna start working now. Well, I think what's weird is on the other side of it, it's like, what advice do I give my sons? All of them, all my kids. Do I tell them go to college? The thing that I was told my whole life, or do I tell them learn a trade? Well, I have told them that. It's like, by the time you leave here, son, you're going to know how to weld and machine and do all sorts of stuff that, if you ever need those skills, you can fall back on. But, yeah, it's...
Right, exactly. But that's good that they would have that option to fall back on.
Yep.
If, say, they did go to college and an office job didn't work out.
Yeah.
Or, something like that.
Yep. I think, ultimately at the end of the day, it just comes down to whatever they want to do. I'll support it either way. If they decide, hey, I want to get a degree in this, I want to go to college. Okay, we'll figure it out. But time will tell. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of a lot more of a topic under those subjects.
Oh yeah.
Get off in the weeds and have a whole nother podcast on that.
All right. So Ben, do you have any more spots left open on your workshops coming up?
Hold on. Let me ask my secretary. She can kill me for calling her that.
The boss.
The boss. Let me ask the boss. Do we have any spots left in our November class?
Yes, I believe we have 3.
We have 3 left in our November class. But by the time this episode goes up, it's gonna be cutting it close by the time this episode goes up. And then December has 1 spot left for the December class, and then obviously the January class is sold out. I'm a little nervous. Like, I'm straight up nervous. Like, I've taught a class before, but I had lots of backup. And this time it's like just little old me. That's all right.
Yeah. No, it's a good health. It's healthy. It's healthy to be nervous.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll be really healthy by the time the first pig hits the ground. That's all right. You said you wanted to be there.
Once you get that first one out.
I might be like, Jason, I might need some moral support here.
You'll have backup, man.
I know.
Yeah, you'll have backup. But no, I understand what you mean, man. It is nerve-wracking. And you're having strangers at your house. So,
yep.
I mean, you're opening your home to people. And so that is nerve-wracking. And then there's some anxiety there. But I think for the most part, people are nice. People are cool, man.
Yeah.
And
that's the truth.
And you're teaching a class. I mean, they're there to learn something. So I think it's all good. You just got to get that first one out of the way.
Get the butterflies under control.
But so I'll leave a link to your class down below on this YouTube podcast just in case anyone wants to do last minute signups, and maybe there's still left when this podcast is out. But I think we're going to end it there.
Sounds good.
I appreciate. Yeah, this was a good talk. I appreciate everyone listening and watching these podcasts, and thank you all for the great comments on YouTube and all the. If you're on iTunes, leave feedback. Rate us on there so that way we can be people. It can be better for the podcast. And if you have not signed up or subscribe, yes, the 5-star. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we really appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I hope everyone has an awesome week.
See you guys.